while that's loading, like I said something in an earlier video where I sort of asked you guys a question that you can't answer, but um, I hesitate. It's it's something that. See, I don't know the full. I see we're all like sort of doing different things, and there are things going on I don't know about, but that are known, and then there are things. But here's the thing that I just because it's about that I want to say as a person, okay? Because I didn't know what this was at first, and I just want to put it in the record. Someone's watching these channels. Okay, one of the things that went on or whatever, and then when I landed in our what we're doing here, that came up a lot. Okay, was what this tragedy that that happened in Arizona. Okay, with this young man, Jared Lautner. That the article written about that where he shot a congresswoman and everything, and there was a lot where a lot of young people I was around at the time felt really bad for the kid and everything, and it was in the papers. Okay, and it was sort of I want to say something about that. That's become apparent that I don't fully understand. But since that kid and I wrote a lot about that at the time. A lot of people were writing about that and everything. But I want to say what we've discovered down here, what I've discovered down here, and I don't know, but it's important to put in the record, okay? Because how could I not? I've often said, I had this sort of metaphoric Lautner experience in my graduate school where the same type of thing happened, where I was he was doing to me what I was doing, sort of agitating a little in class, and was told he couldn't return to class unless, couldn't to finish his education unless he went to see a psychiatrist, okay? Now that's the state, that's something I take, the fact that it's like that, is very frightening to me, and I argued someone like that was driven into a state where he, I had what's called, what happened to me was similar. I said, this can't be real. I was older and able to kind of pull back from, the kid who had a psychotic experience of what had happened, and the whole thing's a tragedy. But what he had said, in class, they had in the David Brooks article about him, that he had said, one, that the universities were participating in genocide. They are, but also that he had said in the math class, he had said, how can you deny math? When the professor put up this thing the math professor put something up on the board at his community college, these were the comments listed that he had said, and and they had gotten him, thrown out of school. So at the time, I understood that his comment, how can you deny math? I knew young people who had left college and gone into the LaRouche centers. I knew there was this LaRouche youth movement. The LaRouche people came and talked to me after I was thrown out of graduate school. I like a lot of Lyndon LaRouche's ideas. I like his definition of liberalism as the systematic denial of the existence of an objective reality. There was a lot of movements going on at this time. I took an interest in all of them. But that's where he, when he said that, so how can you deny math? It's he's, I don't know that he's both talking about he must be, talking to people in the LaRouche movement, and also be aware of this neoliberal project to some extent. Okay, so he's a bright kid. It's a shame this happened. Okay. But the thing is, I'm not a member of the LaRouche movement, and I actually don't know I didn't know at the time why, or because I'm not a math person really, what this issue of non-Euclidean geometry has to do with anything. That is to say, they feel that the problem is not just to quarantine the economics departments, which I believe has to happen because that's who's going to these policy-making things with their neoliberal bubble charts, and don't live in reality, but that they believe that something fundamental has to start in the high school and college math classes where they teach this different non-Euclidean geometry. Is that real, right? I thought, okay. What's become apparent in our thing down here is, okay, there is something about non-linear connections between things that to call it mystical would miss the point, okay? there's some that actually apparently is real. The idea that learning non-Euclidean, I would think, is non-linear geometry at a young age would and into college actually changes your perception in the same way that you need to learn algebra. So why have to learn algebra? Well, it's important for concept formation. You use it all the time. You just don't realize it. You needed to think clearly. I mean, a lot of the math you learn when you're young is like that. It's building part of your mind that you're going to take for granted as an adult. Algebra is part of concept formation, for example. Okay, so apparently that's real. This thing that they're saying the part of the movement is to teach a different kind of geometry. What we found out down here is that that's real. Without being a math person, without knowing all the facts of it all, I'd love someone to tell me more about that. But all I can tell you is there's something is real about that, because this issue with nonlinear things and synchronicities, that means there's something we don't know. And I'm saying, like, we might not know it or understand it better because the kind of math, okay, that may be, and it may apply to all other fields as well, for all I know. I don't know. But apparently that's not something crazy. That's this issue of non-Euclidean geometry being the kind of geometry we need to be learning. That's all I wanted to say.